before we get started with our lesson, so we had a little bit of a miscommunication yesterday. There was like an email sent by Heaven that was read incorrectly by a lot of students. I just wanted to kind of do a little review and make sure that we're reading things carefully. And I actually have like a little test for you guys to see if we can figure out some information. So what I want you guys to do is read the message below that starts with good morning and tell me if any of the messages apply to you and what the important takeaway is of the message. So the purpose of this is sometimes you guys will receive emails that do not directly apply to you. So just because you're getting an email, it doesn't mean that everything in the email applies to you. And then also you have to check to make sure the words, like, you have to make sure you understand the words that it's trying to say very clearly.
And sometimes you receive emails like that because it's in a grade margin. So if you're in the 9th grade, there's like a little thing at the top where you can email the entire 9th grade.
Right. And a lot of the times that's the easiest to like
instead of pinpointing like 50 kids.
Right. Exactly. Thanks, Isaiah. So let's do a little challenge for you guys. So please read the update below. Should we read it out loud, Isaiah, or should we just have them read it?
I'll read it out loud. Hold on. Someone just emailed me. Let me see this real quick. I'm going to read it right now. Yeah, I am. Okay, please read this update below. This is an important reminder that if you're... One second. This thing is too big, the camera. Okay. This is an important reminder that if you're a rising 11th grade student, that you must submit your personal essays by May 18th. All 10th grade students in Course C must attend all classes in person the remainder of the year. If you are a 9th grader in Court C, you must attend all classes remotely. If you are a senior, you should complete your work independently. If you are enrolled in a studio art, please pick up portfolios no later than June 10th. If you were born before 2009, disregard this whole message. Is my mic off?
So what do you guys, what's the takeaway from this message? What's the important information and what applies to you?
So if that last line wasn't there, the only thing that would apply to us would be if you were a 9th grader in cohort C. But since that last line is there, since we're all born before 2009, nothing applies to us.
Yes. Okay, got it. Okay, so also there's another thing that would apply to you because you guys are in studio art. You have portfolios. If this were real, but it's none of this information's real. But you know, it's obviously it's a little test, right? Like I put that thing at the end to check to see if we're reading the whole message. You know, in the emails they're not going to have that, but I just wanted to do this just as like a little practice and just kind of discuss because, you know, Heaven did send an email yesterday that said you might be, or she said, if you're receiving this, you some of you guys are missing work. It's just really important that we read things carefully. And, you know, it's not like I'm not doing this as like a punishment or anything. It's
just so people don't misinterpret certain situations.
Yeah, exactly. We just want to make sure that we're, you know, moving forward, we're carefully reading things. Because I did notice it wasn't just one person, so I just want to make sure that we're all in the
right. It was a couple of people.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you can't be so sensitive anymore. The world don't care about your feelings.
No. Okay, well, you guys, oops, I got a message in the chat. Well, it's not even about your feelings. It's just like, you know, I just want to make sure that you guys.
Me personally, I'm a very straightforward person. That's why I'm really bad. Well, I'm really good when it comes to communicating with people, but it's just I'm very straightforward. I just say it.
I'll tell it like it is.
Yeah, I tell it like it is.
Yep, you do. I love that about you. Okay, you guys, so for this assignment, we're going to create a surreal eye drawing. So basically, what we're doing is we're going to go through some steps on how to draw an eye realistically, some things we shouldn't do, and then you're going to do it on your own. It's going to be due next week on Thursday. And then what you guys have to decide is how you are going to give this a surreal vibe. So we're going to also discuss what surreal means. So
I have a question, Miss Woods. What happened with the ones that we did? They threw everything away?
I'm honestly not sure. I haven't been to the school.
Because I know I had mad stuff in my lockers before we like left. I had mad
Those
phones,
things are gone.
speakers, jacket.
I think,
Those are gone.
yeah, but I'm not sure. Well, if it was in your locker, I'm not sure.
They probably threw it away.
Yeah.
I'm tight.
Heaven, do you want to read this one or you want me to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it. What is surrealism? A modern movement in art and literature where you show the working of this is unconscious or
Mm-hmm.
okay, unconscious mind like in dreams. It is characterized by a bizarre, fantastical, and unique subject matter, imagination, unconsciousness, and the consciousness of the three main ideas themed behind surrealism. Surrealist artwork may change over time due to new ideologies and objects that may inspire them, just like in all types of art.
Thank you. So basically, we have this art movement, and it was in the way it was generated and explored was thinking about how our brain has an unconscious and dreamlike state. So like these artists, what they were doing is like they were changing from people doing things that are realism. So looking at objects around you in everyday life. That's what a lot of artists were doing. And they were like, we want to paint things that can't be real. We want to paint things we have dreams about. We want to paint things that are unknown, that kind of confuse the mind. So that was the whole theme of surrealism. So when you're making your artwork, you can kind of think about things that you might dream about, things that you wish were real that can't be real. So that's kind of a cool thing to think about.
Miss Woods, I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
I wish I could stay longer, but
No worries. Thank you, Isaiah.
all right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, y'all.
Okay, so before we get started, I just kind of want to go over the anatomy of the eyes. So one thing that's really helpful to do when you're drawing something is just look closely at images and photos. You guys can actually take a photograph of your own eye and draw your own eye. But it's a very challenging thing to do when you're drawing an eye. So when artists are drawing something that's difficult, they always want to make sure to research, look at pictures and photographs and try to do as much detail as possible and understand what they're actually drawing. So this is just like 2 examples of an eye drawing, and I kind of want you guys to break it down in terms of what the artist did. So what's different between what the artist did between A and B? And you don't have to tell me your judgment or your opinion of it, just literally what is different.
The things that are different are A looks all cartoony while B looks more realistic.
Okay, so one looks cartoon, one looks realistic. Adam said detailing and shading. So A doesn't have any shading. It's just lines, it's just contour. The bottom one has a lot of different lines and techniques combined. We see shading, we see lights and darks. The top one is just contour, so we don't have that detail. It's also like the top one is made up of only a few lines, so it's very simplified. So these are some other things that I noted. So just overall, the A, one thing that we didn't highlight yet is that A would have taken maybe 30 seconds, right? So very fast drawing. The bottom one has a lot of techniques in it, right? So we see hatching for the eyelashes, shading, we see values. So there's a whole range of lights and darks. So that takes time, right? We see lighting, so the reflection in the eye, that gives our brain a signal when we're looking at it that it appears to be realistic. It could be real. We have texture, so the eyebrow. You see how you could almost imagine touching the eyebrow, the texture of the eyebrow. And as I mentioned before, it has a range of values. So we have lights and darks. So with this drawing, this is why I wanted to show this to you. We practice these skills over the year. So this is kind of a culmination of all of our skills that we've worked on throughout the year. So remember how we did that little value scale of boxes from light to dark? So we're gonna take that and put it into this. We're gonna use mark making, like hatching, cross hatching, and then also shading. And then we're also going to do even the work that we did with 3D shapes, how we are shading the shapes. So it's really important for this drawing that you guys put in that extra level of detail and technique that we've been practicing. So this is going to take a little bit longer, this drawing. So what we're going to do is the first draft is going to be due next week on Thursday. We'll do a little lesson check-in, share our work, and then we'll give feedback to each other, and then we will continue to develop and work on the drawing. And just let me know if you guys have any questions so far. Heaven, you want to read this one? Okay, I'll read this one. So for this drawing, it is very important that you carefully use your pencil to shade in the different values and highlights and shadows. Look closely at how the shading brings the drawing to life. So with only basic contour, like at the top on the left, things look very flat. It does have some sense of realism, like our brain can recognize it's an eye, but without that shading, it doesn't capture it like realistically, and it doesn't have that level of detail that kind of signals to our brain that this is a human eye that we're looking at. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just look at a video of do's and don'ts of drawing realistic eyes. So I'm gonna show you guys what you need to notice is just the difference between the two. And again, I'm not playing this as a way to be like, good, this is good and this is bad, but I do want to encourage you guys to try to get the technique that we've been practicing over the year, that we've built, to push yourself to do something that is a little bit, beyond where you were at the beginning of the year. So wherever your benchmark or wherever you were at the beginning of the year, think about how that has grown in the techniques that you've developed, so we can try to push your technique and ability. No worries, Miriam. I turned the music off because that was really irritating me. So while we're watching this, you guys can kind of discuss the things that you're seeing the artist doing. We could unmute ourselves, or we could put it in the chat. So one thing I notice is the center. So although your iris here is, let me draw for a second here. So although the iris which is the colored part of your eye here, although it is a circle, because of the eyelids that we have, we don't see a full circle. You guys see that? So because of our upper and lower eyelid, we don't see a full circle. So that's why a lot of the times when we're drawing an eye and we're not like looking at a reference, that's why a lot of the time sometimes people do this. They put like the circle within the eye, but we actually don't see that full iris. Okay, I'll keep playing. So I also noticed that they're coming in, layering different areas to get value. One technique that's really good is to work your way around a drawing. So work in certain areas. You don't want to invest all your time in one area. Go around the drawing and continue to look at the whole work. Make sure that everything's working together. Another thing, we have some shading on the actual eyeball beneath the eyelid. You guys see how there's actually a shadow there? Lots of reflections in the iris. You can actually see the eyelashes reflecting in the iris, which is cool. Whereas opposed to here, we have, if we look at this example, very simplified, right? So the tear duct right here, is just one line like that. So we don't have like any shading here at all. It looks like the only attempt at shading was the eyebrow, which they outlined first and then just kind of like colored in like this. Okay, rather than, you know, individually drawing and shading in the hairs. Okay, here the eyebrow hairs normally grow straight up. All right. Also, we kind of see more of the circle here. See how the eyelashes are really spaced out. So those types of techniques we're trying to, this type of version we're trying to stray away from. We want to make sure that we are capturing details and shading. So what you guys get to do for this is, to begin, you can start by drawing an eye. I have 3 tutorials in the slides that you guys can use. They're broken down into easy, medium, and advanced. So remember I told you guys about your benchmark, where you were in the beginning of the year, where did you start with your techniques and ability, and like based on how much we've been practicing drawing, where do you think you can go between these techniques? So I did want to give you guys the choice. And if you do have, you know, a photograph of an eye that you're like, some of you might be at the place where you can look at a photograph and then draw from the photograph without having steps. So if that's the case, you guys should do that. You should look at the photograph and then draw from that photograph. So these are some examples. I'll play the easy one just so you guys can see. And basically they break everything down step by step. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys some examples of work that students did in studio art last year. So we have an eye that was drawn into a basketball and a basketball hoop, one eye that's transforming into a butterfly, an eye that has like a globe as the pupil. We have a Golden Gate Bridge within the iris, We have like teardrops, rainbow colors, some type of like alien or like morphing iris in the eye on the right. And this student actually, so the student on the bottom right, and there's another one on the next page, we discussed it, and they were at the point where they wanted to challenge themselves to shade using ink. So this student did use pen. It is 100% more of a challenge, but if any of you guys would like to do that, you can do that. So same thing as this student with the astronaut. So they were like, I'm ready for that challenge. They love to draw with ink, so that was something that they did. These other students drew with pencil, so you guys can see an idea. One has like geodes inside the eye. This one has a clock or a gear inside the eye. Different types of textures and abstract type of design inside the eye. Okay, stars. All right, you guys, so this is the criteria. Heaven, are you able to read this?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
The criteria: students develop a detailed drawing of an eye that includes eyelids, eyelashes, eyebrows, the iris, and pupil. Drawing should have surreal elements, things you normally wouldn't see when looking at an eye. Drawing must include midtones, highlights, and shadows. Students must develop work that reflect 45 to 60 minutes of drawing time and must fill an entire paper. Drawing can follow the student's choice of the 3 video tutorials below, plus their own surreal concept. Upload and turn in a photograph of your drawing with your name on it in JPEG format by the deadline. Level up extra credit. Add in an entire face in your drawing or do 2 eyes. You may also challenge yourself by doing your own eyes from a reflection.
Thank you, Heaven. And as I mentioned too, if you would like extra credit, you could do ink. Additionally, extra credit if you would like to add color. Okay. Are there any questions? Show these examples again. So before, if I'm not going to have any questions, before I send you guys off, does anyone have an idea of what they'd like to do?
I'm
Do my
gonna draw
own
like
eye.
a fire and ice thing. I don't know.
Ooh, fire and ice. Awesome. And who else? Sorry, you got cut off there.
I'm thinking about doing my own eye.
Your own eye. Awesome. And what could you add in for your surreal concept? Do you have any ideas?
Not yet.
Okay. One cool thing is to kind of think about like what you hope for the future, or like, you know, what would you like to see for yourself in your future? Like, what would you like to do over the summer? Where's a place that you would like to travel to, or like, you know, reflecting. You can add things into the iris, like see how they did the hamster wheel. Another good thing for this is like we have a circular shape for the iris. So like what objects are circular? You know, you could do like a pizza eye. You could do what else is circular? I mean, we have tears coming from the eye. You could do like a waterfall or a river.
Miss, I'm gonna head out. I got class in a few.
Sure, no problem.
Take care, Miss. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Do you feel like you understand? You're good? Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, okay. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, you guys, that's all I have for you today. So remember, your first draft is going to be due on Thursday next week. So what you want to do is you want to have your drawing completed by Thursday, like a first draft. So it doesn't have to be completely shaded in, but you want to give the viewer a general idea of what your final drawing is going to be. So make sure you have at least a good start on it, about halfway done, about 30 minutes of drawing time on this. And then what you're going to do is take a clear photograph and upload it. Please do that by Tuesday next week. So then Thursday, we can do our share out and critique. Okay? And I'll give you guys a reminder. All right, well, I hope you guys have a great day. If there's anyone who has any other questions, I'll stick around for a minute.
Okay, have a good day.
Good
Thank
day.
you.
Okay, I have like one last question. So like this assignment, all we're doing is a draft, right? I just want to make sure.
So by Thursday, you need to turn in about half of the, you want to have like a start on it about halfway through. And then you're
Okay.
going to get another week to finalize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. I hope you have a great day.